Hi, everybody. Frank Keck here with another Lunch and Learn. Today's topic, communication strategy. I was working with a client a couple of years ago, and he said, we've got a pretty good team. We work really well. We've got a good culture. If you could help us to just find that final 5%, right? How to be 5% more effective, more efficient. And so I went and spent a couple of days with him. And so as part of that, I sat down with most of his employees. And as I sat down, I asked them just a couple of simple questions. What do you like about working here? What's working? What's not working? What suggestions for improvement would you have? And I got a lot of great ideas. One of the things that I kept getting over and over again was they said, when it comes to communication, our boss works really hard at making sure that we communicate effectively, that he communicates effectively. But oh my gosh, there's so much communication coming our way. We've got videos and blogs and vlogs and newsletters, and he comes by our desks, right? And we have weekly meetings and we have monthly powwows and we have all these things. And I don't know what to pay attention to. Do I pay attention to his email? Do I pay attention to the text message? There's so much coming at me. I don't know what's more important. And it's not just coming from him. It's coming from all of the different people on the leadership team. I just don't know what to pay attention to. Well, that's not the first time I've heard that. I've heard that several times. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today is when people come to us all the time, and they say, we have a communication issue, right? It's probably the most common business problem there is. We have a communication issue. And whenever you hear somebody say we have a communication issue, what that really means is, I have no idea what our problem is. So I'm just going to throw it in this bucket of communication issue because communication issues are in everything. And they haven't really figured out what the issue is. So of course they had a communication issue, but their communication issue was they were communicating too much and people were inundated and they didn't know what to pay attention to. Sometimes people don't get the right information. They don't get information in time because I think we have to stop and think about the purpose of the communication. So I want to give you a couple of things to think about. Now, this is not just for leaders of teams. This is for everybody on the team. This is for all of us. If we want to communicate more effectively, here's some simple things to do. First of all, it's like Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. What is it that you want to happen as a result of your communication? When you go to communicate to whether it's one person or 1,000 people, what do you want to happen as a result of that communication? Write that down. That's where you start. Now, where are your people right now? How do you get them from where they are to where you want to get them to be? That's how you actually create your message. So we want to be specific. I want you to be intentional. And here's a few things I want you to think about as you start to think about how am I going to communicate to one person or a group of people? The first thing to think about is your audience, your receiver. Right now, we have to meet the audience where they are. They're not going to meet us where we are. And I think this is a common misconception is they just assume, well, I'm the boss. They're going to pay attention to me and meet me where I am. And that is not necessarily true. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that doesn't work. As a general rule of thumb, we need to meet them where they are. So the more you can understand that, how do they need to receive information? Right? Are they visual, auditory, or kinesthetic? Are they big chunk or small chunk, right? Are they big picture people or detail-oriented people? What is it that drives them right now? So how do I connect with that? What's going on in their world? Are they completely overwhelmed? If I add one more thing, it's not going to matter. Do I need to take something off of their plate first? Do they have something going on outside of work? Something taking their time and attention outside of their work that's causing them to not pay attention as much, right? It's disengaging them because that has got them and it's just kind of got them off focusing on that, right? And these things happen to all of us. So the first thing is your audience. Understand where are they right now? And then how do I get their attention? What do I need to do to meet them where they are? And you got to do that by first understanding where they are. The second thing I want you to think about is the message. What message is it that you want to send? And to start with that message, what's the purpose of the message? And as I said earlier, at the end of this message, what do you want people to do? Whether it's one person or a group of people, what action do you want them to take? Write that down. That's where you start. How do I get this person to want to do that? Yeah, you can use force sometimes, but you can't use force all the time. People are going to get tired of it. And in today's world, you start to use force very much, those people are going to walk away and go work somewhere else. And people are really good people are really hard to find right now. So we want to make sure that we're understanding how do we empower them? How do we meet them where they are? But what's going to drive their behavior right now and get them to want to do that? Right? Zig Ziglar told me a long time ago, he said, Frank, you can get anything you want by helping other people get what they want. I believe that's absolutely true. And that should be one of the first laws of communication, persuasion, and leadership. So what's your message? And I would also tell you less is more. We could make this an hour-long lunch and learn, but we're not going to. Right? It's going to be about 10 minutes long because I can get everything in 10 minutes so that you can go out and do something else. So what's the message? What's the purpose? And then how many things do you need to tell them so that they'll get the message and move on? And no more, right? Stop selling, stop telling, just give them what they need. And the third piece is action. Let people know, hey, this is the action we need to take, and come out and say it. Hey, this is the action. Let's begin this now. Here's what I need you to do, and here's why. Here's what's in it for you. But so many times we expect people to just kind of figure out what we want them to do, and so they don't do anything. So let's make it as easy as we can. So focus on who is my audience? Where are they right now? What do they need from me? What's the message? What's in it for them to make them want to do it? And what is the specific action I want them to take? Remember, less is more. When you say fewer words, there's less words for those words to compete with. Less is more. There's an old saying, tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. And so I think repetition is very, very helpful as well. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. That can be a part of your communication strategy too. People remember the first thing that you say and typically the final thing that you say. All the stuff in the middle just kind of becomes filler. So keep in mind, first thing, final thing, typically what they remember the most. And when you repeat it, people remember when you repeat things. 3 times to short-term memory, repeat something 7 times. My understanding is it goes to long-term memory. So begin with the end in mind. Think about your audience. Think about your message. What action do you want people to do? Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. Less is more. Fewer words, more action. I'm Frank Keck, and that's your Lunch and Learn for the day.